Section 9.7 has to do with similar triangles and indirect measurements. So the first thing we need to talk about is the definition of similar. So similar is a triangle that has the same shape but not necessarily the same size. So if you notice triangle ABC, it says is similar. This is the symbol for similar. Is similar to triangle DEF. And what that means is that corresponding angles are congruent or have the same size. So angle A, and I'm going to put a congruency mark there, matches up with angle D. So it has one little arc there. So A and D go together, okay, and it's in the same order. B and E go together, so I'm going to put two little congruency marks on the E. And then C and F go together. Notice how the arcs match. So this has one arc, and it is with D. They each have one mark, so I know that the measure of those angles are the same. The measures of those angles are the same. The measures of these angles are the same. So that is one part of being a similar triangle. The second part says that corresponding sides are proportional. That means that the measurement, if you will, if I go right down here, of AB to, let's say, AB corresponds to DE is the same proportion as what BC corresponds to EF, which is the same as AC corresponds to DF. Now, I think it'll make more sense when we actually put some numbers in here. So you're going to be like finding the measure. They're going to tell you that two triangles are similar, which means you know that their angles have a congruent angle on the other triangle and that their sides are proportional. So the easiest way to do these problems is to put your congruency marks in there first. So J, I'm going to put one arc is congruent to R. So I'm going to put the one arc there. Then K, I'll put two arcs on that, is congruent to S. Then M, and I'll put three marks on that, is congruent to T. Now once I have those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my proportion statement. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my measurements from the left triangle on the top of my fraction, and the ones from my right triangle on the bottom of my fraction, or I could have said small triangle over large triangle, or I could have just gone ahead and named that triangle JKM and triangle RST. So what I'm going to do is I look and I say the measurement between the 1 and the 3 arcs. See the 1 arc and the 3 arcs on the left triangle, or the smaller triangle, is 3. Between the 1 and the 3 marks on the right triangle is 9. So I set up 3 over 9. And then I go between the 2 and the 3 arcs on the small triangle is 5. And between the 2 and the 3 marks on the large triangle is X. So now I have a proportion problem that I'm just going to cross product and solve. So 3 times X is 3X. 9 times 5 is 45. So then I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and I'm going to get X is equal to 15. So you have solved for the X, given that those two triangles are similar. Let's do another one. Okay, two different triangles. You have RUN is similar to CAB. So I'm going to mark my congruency marks. So I have one arc there, and 1 arc here because I know R is congruent to C, and I know U, I'll put the 2 arcs there, is congruent to A, the U and the A, and then I have 3 marks on my N and 3 marks on my B. If you've done that correctly, everything else is very easy. So on this one, I'll actually just use the letters here, and I'll put triangle RUN on the top and triangle CAB on the bottom. It is very important that you do like a setup so that you know which values you're putting on the top and which you're putting on the bottom. So on the RUN, between the 1 and the 2 arcs, I have a 4. On the CAB, between the 1 and the 2 marks, I have an 8. So I have 4 over 8. On the RUN, which is on the top, between the 2 and the 3 arcs, I have a 10. And between the 2 and the 3 arcs over here, I have an X. And then I cross product. So I have 4x is equal to 80. I'm going to divide by 4, and I'm going to get x equals 20. Okay. Indirect measures means that the triangles are not necessarily side by side like they were before, where it's real easy to see what's congruent. So go ahead, if you're doing your hash marks, your arcs right, this won't be a problem. So I've got ABE and DCE, so I'll do 1 arc on the A and 1 arc on the, I think that was supposed to be, this one's supposed to be a D. And 1 arc on the D. I have 2 arcs on the B and 2 arcs on the C, and then the E is right here, and it's going to get the 3 marks on both sides there. So I have triangle ABE, and I'm going to put it over top of triangle DCE. So if you will, between the 1 and the 2 on ABE is a 64. Between the 1 and the 2 arcs on the DCE is an X. Between the 2 and the 3 on ABE is a 48. Between the 2 and the 3 on DCE is a 96. So then I'm going to cross product and solve. So I have a 48E is equal to 6,144. So I'm going to divide both sides by the 48. And I'm going to get X is equal to 128. Obviously, you'll have to divide that out. Okay, so it's done just the same way, except for the triangles look a little, they look like they're opposite each other, which they are. But if you put your arc marks on there, there won't be any issues. Let's do one more of those. So you have P, Q, T. So I'm going to put the 1 hash mark on the P on both sides, okay, because P is congruent to P. Then on Q, I have the 2 arcs, and over here I would have 2 arcs on the R, because Q and R match. And then T gets my 3 arcs, and S gets my 3 arcs. All right, so now I'm going to set it up. I have triangle P, Q, T over, or you could do small triangle over big triangle, however you want to do it, P, R, S. So between the 2 and the 3 hash marks on your P, Q, T, or your 2 and your 3 arcs is a 12. between the 2 and the 3 arcs on the PRS is an X. Between the 1 and the 2 arcs on the PQT, or the smaller triangle, is a 25. Between the 1 and the 2 on the larger triangle is a 60. So then I'm going to cross product, and I'm going to get 25x is equal to 720. And then I'm going to divide by the 25. And it's going to give me 28.8. And that's what your x value, or your height of it, would be. All right, your homework on this is page 474, 7 through 16 all.